Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here once again with another video on Black Lightning. So this is going to be my review for the premiere episode of Black Lightning, the series premiere, episode 1 of season 1, otherwise entitled The Resurrection. So just quickly, going into Black Lightning, I've been one of the people I think that's been excited the whole way through. Every single time there was something like promotional wise released, I was like, yeah, that looks really cool. That really interests me even more in the show. Like even before the show started filming and stuff, some of the words that the producers used to describe the show really got me excited because it did sound like it was going to be something similar to what we've seen, but different at the same time. And you do get elements of that throughout this episode, which I will jump into. But overall, I was always looking forward to the show. I'm so excited it's around, and I must say, I know it's a spoiler for the rest of the review, but this episode definitely did not disappoint. Now, the universe building that they use straight out of the gates in this episode is great. Like, they set up all the issues that's going on in the community, like the 100 gang straight away. They jump straight into that, say like these guys not good. And they also said like 9 years like since Black Lightning was around, like it's been 9 years since he suited up and used his abilities. And you do get like throughout the episode little like not teasers I guess you could say, but little stages where Jefferson, obviously Black Lightning, is getting angry and his powers are sort of starting to like come out a bit. So I wonder if they're going to go more in depth throughout the next couple of episodes about, stages where he almost went back to being Black Lightning. Like, he hasn't been Black Lightning for 9 years, but were there stages throughout those 9 years where he was close to going back to suiting up and stuff like that? So I'm interested to see if that happens throughout this season, which I hope there is. Now, Black Lightning is a superhero show, but also it's a family show. So we have Jennifer, who is his younger daughter, who's played by China Anne McClain. I think that's her name, who is like a big Disney star before this, so she's got a bit of a following. And we have the older sister who is called Anissa, Anissa might I say, Anissa, not Nissa like we have on Arrow, but Anissa with an A at the beginning. We do hear Jennifer actually call Anissa Harriet Tubman, like it's their, I guess, nickname or just the name that they call Anissa. And Harriet Tubman was actually like around in the like mid 1800s, I guess. She was a former slave who then was actually working with the American army in the whole Civil War thing. And she actually led a lot of slaves to their freedom in like an underground sort of rail system. So obviously, they set up that Anissa likes to protest in this episode, to support the community and stuff like that. So I guess that's why Jennifer has been calling her Harriet Tubman. Now, one scene in this episode, which was released, I want to say about a week ago, as like a promo piece, like they released this scene on YouTube, and I think they even showed it on TV in some stages to promote Black Lightning, which I think was a good idea, because this scene was very powerful. It's the scene where we see Jefferson get pulled over by the cops. It's in the rain, everything like that, with his two daughters in the back seat. And essentially because a grocery store or something was robbed, and the description was it was a black person. So essentially the cops are just pulling over every single black person possible just to get a possible person that did it. And you never know, like this lady who was at the grocery store could have just, got tired of it and just picked someone else, and the cops would have just arrested that person most likely. But this scene was very relevant, not only just for black people in America, like specifically for what they were going here, yeah, African American people in America, obviously, but around the world, this is relevant for many other races other than, well, white people, I guess, in the specific countries. Like in Australia, like, just off the top of my head, like if you look like you could, I hate using the word, but if you could potentially look like you could be a terrorist, you're probably going to get pulled over by the cops if there's any suspicion, if the description is they were Arabic or something, or they were Asian. The cops would be very, they'd profile you pretty quickly. I know in America it's much worse, but in Australia we'd get something similar. Now, one thing I actually really did like in this episode, and I wonder if it's going to continue on throughout the rest of the season, they do hint at it, maybe not being this way, getting a bit more romantic as we move on. But that's the representation of Jefferson and his ex-wife. Like, they're friendly. They're not like at each other's necks all the time as they sometimes do portray divorced couples or, divorced parents, if you want to say, of children on certain shows. They, represent them in a very friendly way. But you understand why they got divorced. Like the whole Black Lightning thing was why they separated. And, Jefferson's been working towards getting them back together, but unfortunately at this stage, Black Lightning might come in between them again, as he has to, resurrect, as the title does suggest of this episode. So it's going to be interesting to see how that progresses throughout this season, and how, like, I think she has her underlying, thoughts that, okay, Black Lightning's back and stuff like that, and my husband or my ex-husband, might I say, is lying to me, but I am interested to see how that progresses, not necessarily next episode, but throughout the rest of the season. Now, my favourite scene of the episode was actually the scene in Club 100, which is where I guess the 100 gang all hangs out. It's where all the gangsters hang out, I guess. But that scene just like set up like the immediate fear that these criminals, I guess you want to say, have over Black Lightning. Like before any like lightning is shot out, they know it's him because the lights are drained. They're like, where is he? Where is he? They're not saying like, what's that? What's that? They're saying, where is he? Where is he? They know it's Black Lightning. They're scared. They're shitting their pants, and they just ran out of there and bailed as fast as they could. So, as I said before, there was universe building straight away out of the gates in this episode, and as we got to this part, it just set up that Black Lightning isn't this new vigilante. There's like fear within criminals whenever he shows up. So I love that part of the episode. And they didn't really underplay that. They shoved it in your face. It's like, yep, these criminals are scared of Black Lightning. We did meet Peter Gamby, played by James Remar, who's a pretty well-known actor, I guess you could say, who is the tailor for the city, and he makes Jefferson's suits for when he's being a principal. But he also makes the Black Lightning suit, not only in the current day, but also back in the day. He was the one that made that Black Lightning suit. So we do see the old one and a couple of flashbacks or security footage and stuff like that. And then we also see it laid out on Gamby's table in his like basement, I guess, of his shop where he does all of his Black Lightning technological advancements. But Gamby's known like Jefferson his whole life, so he knows Jefferson basically the best that anyone would, and he's really pushing Jefferson to be, or to go back and be Black Lightning. So even though Jefferson's trying to avoid it, he does take Gamby's advice into hand. And I think Gamby does know best. Like, he can read the community pretty well. So yeah, I'm excited to see more of James Remar as Peter Gamby throughout this season, because I did like what he did in this episode, even though his time was limited. Now, one thing that sort of grabbed my interest, I'm not sure if everyone heard it. If you did, converse about it in the comment section down below. But on that news report that they had, they mentioned how others with powers are labelled superheroes, but Black Lightning is labelled a vigilante. So I wasn't too sure if they were, I didn't rewind it and stuff and watch it. I just, watched it straight through and just give my opinions right now. But I'm just sure if they were referencing like just, fictional superheroes and they call them superheroes and, Black Lightning's replicating that, but they're calling him a vigilante. Or if they were saying there's other superheroes with like people with powers in this world, on this earth, but, and they're called superheroes, but for some reason Black Lightning's called a vigilante. So yeah, if that's the case, what other heroes are possibly on this earth? Because they've said that this isn't in the Arrowverse. They say that now. In the future, it wouldn't surprise me if they connected him to the Arrowverse. But at this point, he's not in the Arrowverse, which means he's most likely not on Earth 1, probably not on Earth 38 where Supergirl is. So what are the powered people are on his Earth? I'm very, very interested to find that out. I know people are probably screaming Static Shock, which could be the case, but at this stage, you'd have to think there's more because they bring it up like it's, it's nothing new, having superpowered people on this earth. We do meet Tobias Whale a couple of times. I think we only meet him twice. I think he's in 2 scenes in this episode. Now, he's the big bad for this season. Tobias Whale actually killed Jefferson's father. So that's obviously going to be a big thing going on this season. Whenever there was they said that the guy that had his store robbed mentioned a person like Parliament or something like that, and that's what caught Jefferson's attention, because what happened with Tobias Whale is that he was actually a politician, and then he got to the top by being corrupt essentially, and Jefferson's father exposed him, and that's why Tobias Whale actually ended up going and killing Jefferson's father. So that's going to be a storyline that plays out throughout this season, and that's what's going to tie Black Lightning and Jefferson to Tobias Whale. But obviously it's also because Tobias Whale is Lala's boss, who Jefferson had conversed with in this episode. I actually found Lala more interesting, but we did get more time with him, so I don't think I can really criticize Tobias Whale at this point, because he got really short screen time, even though he did have a really cool moment where that guy got chucked in the piranha tank, which was really awesome. But I am excited to see more of Tobias Whale. He even does pull out the harpoon, which is something that happens in the comics as well. That's one of his traits. He uses a harpoon. And he does look like he's in the comics. For people wondering, the actor who's, I'm just going to call him Crondon, because that's the music artist name he uses. He's an albino. In the comics, Tobias Whale is an African-American albino. So he's very much like the character in the comics, if people are wondering why the character is albino. Now, one thing that we did see in the trailers, and I'm sure a lot of people were looking forward to, was the motel fight scene. And honestly, I don't think this disappointed. I think this motel fight scene actually took took a massive advantage of its time slot. So Black Lightning is obviously after Flash, so it starts at 9 o'clock you know, in both both the East and the West. So what Black Lightning did, it took advantage of actually using blood. Like when people were getting shot, there was blood spurting out of where they were getting shot and stuff like that. Even when Jefferson got cut, there was blood leaking out. You see on Arrow, I don't think Arrow is at a later time slot now, but it doesn't take advantage of its time slot, and I don't think even Legends takes advantage of its later time slot when it was on after Flash either. This is probably the first CW show, maybe apart from Supernatural, which takes advantage of a later time slot with actual blood and stuff like that. And even with Black Lightning, like, overuse of curse words like the word bitch and stuff like that, overuse of them, but they're actually using it in a you know, a later time slot so it fits. This doesn't actually feel like a CW show, which is really weird. Like even like Arrow, when it can be a bit darker, has moments where it feels like a CW show. I don't think I have to mention what those are, but this just doesn't feel like a CW show, and I think it actually might work a lot for this show. It's something very different, but very refreshing at the same time. But we do end the episode off with getting our massive tease at Thunder. So that's who, in this series in the comics, she becomes the character known as Thunder. And then Jennifer, the youngest daughter, becomes a character known as Lightning. Like that's her superhero personas, if you want to call them that. I don't know when Jennifer's going to get around to getting her powers, but in this, we already saw her suit reveal like about 2 weeks ago or something like that. So we knew she was coming, and we got a massive tease at the end of this episode when she broke that sync. So I'm excited for her to come into the show and start using her powers more. I'm just not sure when that will be. I think maybe you'd hope before episode 4 or 5 she'll suit up. We'll have to wait and see. I guess she'll have to get tied with Gamby because you think Gamby would make her suit. I don't know. But overall, this was a fantastic premiere for Black Lightning. I don't think they could have got off on a better foot. Like this is the best way they could have gone. I think they've established this universe or this world. This world building was amazing in this first episode. Straight out of the gate, they set certain things up. The middle filled some other things up, and then they just progressed it even further. I'm just really excited to see how this season progresses. For a lot of people wondering, there's 13 episodes, so it's not an extremely long season. So there will be a lot of stuff condensed, which allows them to quickly world build, which I think is something that helps this show a bit. They can just quickly world build. It doesn't have the advantage of being on like Earth 1 with Arrow and Flash and arguably Legends as well, where there's things established in that world, like certain villains and stuff. It doesn't have that advantage, but it's using what they have and building very quick, which I think is a great move. My highlights for the episode, I do like Jennifer, the youngest daughter. I think she's great. As I said, played by China Anne McClain, who's like the Disney star from earlier on. I think she did a great job. Jefferson Pierce, who's played by Cress Williams, I think he's so charismatic. He's just extremely likable straight out of the gates. Extremely likable. I don't think you could hate the character or even just hate on his acting. I think he's brilliant in the role. Didn't get too much Lynn Pierce, who was obviously Jefferson's ex-wife. Didn't get too much for her in the episode, but she does seem likable. I'm excited to see what they do with her movie. And also like the drama or the conflict between her and Jefferson about the whole Black Lightning issue. As I said, I like Gamby, played by James Remar. And we didn't get too much Tobias Well, but I'm very intrigued. That's the best way to put him. I'm very intrigued by the character because going in, Tobias Well was really the only character I was sort of familiar with in the whole show. I was more familiar with him than I was with Black Lightning because Tobias Wells appeared in some like joint comics that I've read before, so I was actually more familiar with him than I was Black Lightning, which is pretty surprising. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it would be awesome if you could drop a like in the video to show support. Let me know in the comments section down below. Did you like the premiere for Black Lightning? Did you love it? Or did you have some issues? If you have any issues, or just leave what you liked, just leave them in the comments section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.